Sharp, smoky. That slow burn that builds in your chest. Tequila is one of the most misunderstood spirits out there. For a lot of people, it's either the cheap shot from a night they'd rather forget, or the expensive stuff someone told them to sip slowly. But real tequila starts long before the glass. It begins with a plant that takes years to grow, a harvest that happens only once, and a process rooted in one specific region of Mexico. And what happens between that plant and that bottle? Now, that's where things get interesting. Everything about tequila starts with one plant, blue agave. And despite what many people think, blue agave is not a cactus. It's actually a succulent, more closely related to asparagus than to cactus species. It grows mainly in the mineral-rich soils of the Jalisco region of Mexico, with limited production also allowed in parts of 4 other Mexican states. Blue agave takes a long time to mature, usually about 7 to 12 years. Unlike crops that can be harvested every year, agave is a long-term investment. Farmers plant it years in advance, knowing they won't see the harvest until nearly a decade later. During that time, the plant stores energy in the form of sugars inside its core, called the piña. A skilled farmer can tell when an agave is ready by reading the plant's size, shape, and overall condition. When the plant is ready, the farmers use a koa, a long-handled tool with a flat circular blade, to cut away the leaves at the base. What's left behind is the piña, which can weigh anywhere from about 40 to 90 kilograms, or roughly 88 to 200 pounds. Once the piñas arrive at the distillery, they need to be cooked. This step has a huge impact on the tequila's final flavor. Cooking breaks down the agave's stored carbohydrates into simple sugars that yeast can later ferment into alcohol. There are 2 main cooking methods. The traditional one uses stone or brick ovens called hornos. The piñas are loaded in and steamed for 24 to 72 hours, slowly softening and developing deeper, richer flavors with earthy and sweet notes. The faster industrial method uses stainless steel autoclaves. These are large pressure cookers that can cook the piñas in as little as 7 to 12 hours. This method is quicker and more efficient, and it's widely used by large tequila producers. After cooking, the piñas turn soft, golden, and sweet-smelling, with a texture and aroma similar to that of a cooked sweet potato or caramelized fruit. Next, the cooked piñas need to be crushed so their juice can be extracted before fermentation begins. This is another place where traditional and modern methods differ. The traditional method uses a tahona, a large stone wheel, often made from volcanic rock, that rolls over the cooked agave to crush it and release the juice. It's a slow process, but many producers believe it creates a fuller, more complex tequila because some agave fibers are carried into fermentation along with the juice. Modern distilleries usually use shredders and roller mills, which process the cooked agave much faster. These machines break up the piñas and extract the juice with mechanical pressure, sometimes with added water to help rinse out more sugar. Before fermentation, the juice is tested for sugar content, usually measured in degrees Brix, to make sure it has the right concentration for yeast to do its job. The extracted agave juice moves into fermentation tanks, where yeast is added and the conversion from sweet juice to alcohol begins. During fermentation, yeast consumes the sugars in the agave juice and produces alcohol and carbon dioxide. It's the same basic process used in wine and beer, but the exact conditions have a big effect on tequila's final flavor. Large producers usually use commercial yeast strains for speed and consistency. Smaller producers may rely on naturally occurring yeast from the distillery environment, which can create more complex flavors, but is harder to control. Depending on the yeast, temperature, and sugar level, fermentation usually takes 24 to 96 hours. By the end, the liquid, now called mosto, has an alcohol content of roughly 4 to 9%. It's then settled or filtered to remove any solids before distillation. Distillation is the process that turns the fermented agave liquid into tequila by concentrating its alcohol. Tequila is usually distilled twice. The first run produces a liquid called ordinario. The second run raises the alcohol content to the level where it's considered tequila in its raw, unaged form. Distillation is typically done in pot stills made from copper or stainless steel, though some producers use column stills for greater efficiency. Copper is still favored by many smaller producers because it helps remove harsh sulfur compounds. After distillation, the raw tequila is diluted with water to the desired bottling strength, usually around 38 to 40% alcohol by volume, though some premium bottles are released at higher strengths. At this stage, the tequila is clear and unaged, and it can either be bottled right away or sent into barrels to mature. That choice changes everything about the final spirit. Blanco, also called silver or plata, is the most direct expression of agave. It's bottled soon after distillation, or rested briefly in stainless steel, and it comes through bright, crisp, and full of herbal agave character. Reposado means rested, and that's exactly what it does. After at least 2 months in oak barrels, the tequila starts to soften. The sharp edges round off, and the barrel adds hints of vanilla, caramel, and spice. It's the most popular tequila style in Mexico. Añejo, meaning aged or vintage, goes further. After at least a year in oak, the spirit deepens in color and complexity, picking up richer notes of oak, vanilla, and dried fruit. Then there's extra añejo, aged for 3 years or more. This is where tequila becomes slow, layered, and deeply influenced by the barrel. Most tequila is aged in used American oak barrels, often ones that once held bourbon. Those barrels add warmth and sweetness while allowing the agave character to remain present. Some producers go even further, finishing tequila in barrels that previously held wine, sherry, or other spirits to add additional flavor complexity to their aged expressions. After aging, or right after distillation for blanco tequila, the spirit goes through a series of quality checks before being bottled. Producers test for alcohol content, clarity, color, and flavor. If a batch needs adjustment, it may be blended with other lots to match the house style. The tequila may also be filtered to remove particles and improve clarity. Some producers chill filter it as well, cooling it before filtration so it stays clear when served cold. The filtered tequila moves to the bottling line, where it's filled, sealed, labeled, and packed for shipment. Every commercial bottle must carry a NOM number, Norma Official Mexicana number, which identifies the specific distillery where it was produced. Now that you understand how tequila is made, it's worth looking at where it came from, because tequila's history is closely tied to Mexico's history. Long before the Spanish arrived, indigenous peoples in the region were already fermenting agave juice, producing a mildly alcoholic beverage used in religious ceremonies and daily life. The Spanish later brought distillation to Mexico, and by the colonial period, agave spirits began to emerge. Over time, the town of Tequila in Jalisco became a major center for this production, and spirits made there from blue agave developed a distinct identity. By the 18th and 19th centuries, commercial tequila production was growing. Brands like Jose Cuervo became part of that expansion, helping turn tequila from a regional spirit into a recognized commercial product. In the 20th century, tequila gained even more visibility, especially in the United States. Prohibition from 1920 to 1933 benefited Mexican spirits producers, as Americans sought out alcohol from across the border. The margarita, one of the most popular cocktails in the world, is believed to have been invented sometime in the 1930s or 1940s, though the exact origin is disputed, and its popularity did enormous things for tequila's profile in the United States. In 1974, Mexico established the denomination of origin for tequila, protecting the category and defining where and how it can be made. Before we wrap up, here are a few tequila facts that put the whole story in perspective. Tequila can only be made in 5 Mexican states, with Jalisco producing most of it. Within Jalisco, the highlands and lowlands can produce noticeably different styles because of differences in climate and growing conditions. Blue agave flowers only once in its life, at the end of its cycle, when it sends up a tall, flowering stalk called a quiote. For tequila production, that stalk is cut before it fully develops, so the plant's energy stays in the piña. Once it flowers, the plant dies. Tequila gets its name from the town of Tequila in Jalisco, and it's a protected category of spirit. Mezcal is the broader category of agave spirits, while tequila is the version made from blue agave in the designated regions. If you enjoyed this deep dive into how tequila is actually made, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We've got more factory tours, food science, and behind-the-scenes breakdowns coming your way. Until next time, thanks for watching.